Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. So this is sort of like a prequel or a preface to the video that you're about to watch because I feel like it ends on kind of a sad note, and it shouldn't because I did some work on all of the stuff that comes up in this video, right? In the meantime, and I actually feel really good and really resolved about my card of the year. Okay, so my card of the year, big surprise, it's probably in the title, is the Death card. And so I chose to to do this reading with the Buddha Tarot, not just because my friend Sarah is very supportive of my Buddhist practice and engaging in her own practice, but also because I thought this deck's voice would be the most straightforward and honest. And of course it is. You know, what I really realized afterwards and as, you know, over the last few days is just how much I've been ready for everything to shift and change. So a lot of the things that come up here are things that I just spent the last few days confronting really openly, journaling about, writing about, contemplating, working with in my practice. All is well. All is well. It's amazing how bringing something like that to your sitting practice will, you know, or to a practice like I did a 5 Dakini mandala yesterday. And I felt like that really helped to resolve a lot of my fears and concerns. Another thing that came up that over the last day or two that really helped me kind of tap into that energy and realize, you know, that this is a positive. You know, you'll hear me talk about in the video coming up, like how I fear things like sickness and illness and, you know, poverty and having to confront more of that, right? I think it was the 5 of Jewels card that came up. I had to confront that fear. And there's a quote I have to share about it. So, in confronting that fear, sorry, I just had a text message come through from the doc. Okay, all is well. Back to this. Even a break, there's things happening, right? Yeah, as I sat down to work on this, you know, my goal has been to kind of like bring closure to a lot of the difficulty and the pain and the suffering that happened this last year in 2021, so that I can really take a fresh look at 2022. My mistake in making that transition between 2020 and 2021 last year was not giving myself enough time to really directly confront my pains and suffering from 2020. And knowing going into 2021, and this is something I should know, right? This is something that shouldn't be a shock or a surprise. These are things I'm aware of that I should know, but yet I didn't have the wherewithal at that time to really see it that clearly. I made choices that were conscious and then choices that were just kind of default, right? Because I didn't make conscious decisions about how I wanted to handle certain things. One of them being, holy shit, you know, we're walking into a time period as we were last year where the illness in the pandemic is skyrocketing. And we thought last winter was bad. This winter, you know, who knows? But I remember feeling so powerless and just defeated by all of it, and kind of thinking like, where am I supposed to find work? What am I supposed to do? You know, I'd spent an entire year working with an end-of-life doula client. And then when the client passed away and we got past the immediate grief phase towards the end of the year, like around Thanksgiving time, and then the holidays started and the cats arrived, and you know, I spent a lot of time trying to heal from that experience, but not really taking any ownership for, okay, now what do I want to do moving forward? and how am I going to move forward? And so because the pandemic kind of just crept up and hit us square in the face, right, as vaccination was just starting, then there's so many things that all happened at the same time, and then within days of the new year, as everything was raging on, then the insurrection at the Capitol happened. That something in me really broke when that happened. The faith I had in people and in democracy, and my countrymen and women and people to uphold that concept, just broke. Something about my understanding of humanity broke, and it's still broken, but not in the same way. It's, I don't have words for it yet, but it has not changed my ability to be compassionate. I think if anything, it has increased my ability to be compassionate because I've started to I've spent more time working to understand what happened and why and how, which is important to me. It doesn't mean I condone anything that took place or the attitudes underpinning the reasons why those took place. It just means that instead of holding on to a hot coal, I put the coal down. That's really the crux of it. So all of that is just to say that as I'm going, I looked at things and went, oh no, we're about to hit very kind of Groundhog Day, like circumstances going into the new year. And I was out on a walk with Henry as all of that began to come up and thought, wait a minute, I can make, I don't have to do the same thing. I don't have to feel helpless or powerless. I mean, for crying out loud, I've gotten through worse. We've been through worse. So we can do this. I can do this. I can get through this. We can do this. We can get through this. That's where I want to come from first, right? We can do this. But not just I can do this. I have the ability to do this. I don't need to kind of give up or numb out or kind of sit like a deer caught in headlights and not do anything, right? And I thought to a day last week. It was one of the last days of work before we left, and it was just after finding out how utterly contagious the Omicron variant is, how it gets through basic cloth masks. We just shifted to wearing, K95s at work. We had so many people calling us who were positive after having been to the office. We were, it's like, what are we going to do? And I hit that last day and thought, you know what? This is the moment that calls for strength. I know how to do this. I'm going to barge into that place like a greased pig at the state fair, and I'm going to go in there and nothing's going to touch me, and we're going to get through this day. And that's it. And it just raised this incredible energy, and a bodhicitta for just, we're doing this. We're all doing this. And I will lead that charge. And boy, we plowed through a really long, really long, hard day. But we did it. We did it. And none of us tested positive, amazingly. So it's been really, really good. It's been really, really good from that perspective. But it was that day that I recognized, I understood a quote that has been sitting on my desk for months, probably the better part of a year, at least 8 months. And that is, carry the load of appearing conditions. If you don't carry the load of all phenomena, the remedy of peace and happiness can't liberate you. And that's Machik. And of course, Machik is, let's see, back here behind me, she's the tiny statue right there. And that particular card is her with her retinue, a lineage tree. So I'd been viewing this the wrong way and wondering why the remedy of peace and happiness was not liberating me from my suffering. And really rallying with everything behind me, because literally, like, what do we have to lose? Everything and nothing. Fuck it. let's just charge in and do this, was really what, I don't know. It pulled everything together. I'm fully vaccinated. I'm boosted. Thankfully, I was able to get boosted right away after Thanksgiving. I didn't have an appointment, and I just walked in, and the woman was going to turn me away. And she said, you know what? In fact, don't leave. Come back. Are you the person whose partner said this or that or the other thing the other day? And I said, no. And she said, oh, I owe somebody a favor, and the person that I owed it to has never come back. I feel like I owe the universe that favor. Let me go ahead and give you your booster. And so she did. So I was very fortunate. So even if I get sick, and it looks realistically like that's probably likely to happen, especially because I work outside the home every day and I'm around people all the time, at least I won't be spreading it too much, because I always wear a mask every day, all day long. But I will probably, if I even notice that I'm sick, it will be, I could be anywhere from like really feeling terrible to not even noticing that I'm sick. So it could run the gamut, because I've had that. I'm that fortunate. To have had a booster. You take everything as it is, and it's not just carrying the load like a burden. It's gathering it up in your arms and saying, all right, we're going to do this. Let's do this. Let's move forward. Let's carry that load. Not, feel the burden of it or the weight of it, but really carry it. And that was what happened. As soon as I was at work that day and I was willing to carry that load, it was all okay. I did, the remedy of peace and happiness did liberate me, and I felt good, and it unleashed a lot of just natural kindness and joy, and the ability to let difficulties and slights and problems just kind of roll off, like going like a greased pig at the state fair. Nobody can quite catch you. You just keep plowing through. So, I don't know where I think that analogy came from, because I had literally greased myself up with a whole bunch of sesame seed oil and stuff to, moisturize and get really, feeling good inside my skin before going to work. But that is kind of how I felt, was like a greased pig at the state fair. That level of squeal and enthusiasm. So, yeah, all that just to say, that's my plan. That's a big part of my plan, is just to embrace everything that's happening. It might not be what I want. It might not be what feels best. It might not be meeting my needs. I might feel a little bit burned out, but you know what? This is what's happening right now. Can I let go of the rest of it, knowing that there will be time and space to meet those needs later, whatever they are, and pick it up and just go? And that's something I used to be very good at doing. But I also, it was also during a time when it wasn't the pandemic, there's so much more to say about it, but suffice it to say, the fight is in me. The willingness to just pick up and carry that load and keep moving forward is there. And that includes, accepting and changing and, dropping, letting what's not working die. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm embracing this in a way that I didn't fully embrace or see my previous year cards. So I feel like that's already got to be a good thing. Okay. So here comes the rest of it. And thank you to Sarah so much for sharing your work with the kind of unpacking the card of the year, because it's been incredibly valuable to me. Hi, everyone. It's Natalie here. So I am doing a VR to my friend Sarah over at Waterchild Tarot. She came up with a really lovely spread for working with your card of the year. And my card coming up for the year of 2022 is the Death card. And I normally wouldn't feel so... weird about getting the Death card, frankly. If it weren't for the fact that, the last 2 years have just been, or even 3 in some respects, have just been so hard. So many difficult family dynamics, financial hardship, where the financial hardship has been alleviated. It has been filled with challenges and difficulties and hardship on completely other levels that have that just kind of continue to I don't know what the word is that I want. I continue to feel the impact of them. And I got through them okay, and I did all right. I feel like I came through those moments and lessons and so forth really well. But I probably, I just don't, I don't know. I think if I had spent more time framing what was to come, and oh, I've got a grumpy dog, and understanding it better, I would have, I probably would have made some different choices. I don't know. Nobody could have predicted the pandemic, right? None of us knew that was coming or what the impact of it would be. And the first year of it was, for me, extremely different than the second. Hey, that's not okay. Shh, you need to calm down, sir. If I'd been a little bit better prepared for last year, I guess, I probably would have found it easier. Hey. Oh my God, he's coming in and he's going a roof, and then when I turn to look at him, he runs away because he knows he's not doing what he's supposed to do, which is to sit down like a good boy and then lie down so he can calm himself. He's usually pretty good about that. Anyhow, that said, here are the notes I jotted down, and I paraphrased these a little bit from where Sarah had them. But, one places their card for the year, in this case, death, or the corpse, right in the middle. And then we look at, what aspect of the card is most important. How can I apply this energy? What obstacle is likely to arise? And then the advice to face this challenge. Okay. So I will also link in the box below, to her original video so that you can see it. I decided to use the Buddha Tarot because I want to work more deeply with this one this year. I'm really eagerly awaiting the release of the new version of it by Schiffer. And I don't know, it's one of the decks I really bonded very tightly with over the last year, and I trust it to give me information that's going to be useful and helpful. And which calms and relaxes me. And immediately, I have to say, this is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck, because I feel like Place really got some of the line work, and feel of like Tibetan skulls, and certainly the way they do their clouds and stuff. I love it. I think it's one of the better drawn cards in the whole deck. Honestly, it's beautiful. And the skeleton is dancing, so dancing with death, dancing with our corporeal existence, knowing that it's impermanent. So I could also add the idea of impermanence to my year card, that nothing is permanent, everything changes. And so what needs to be let go of. And I think that's the way Sarah explained it to a querent that she was working with, who had a death card year pop up, was, which is always upsetting to clients. It's funny when it's somebody else, I'm like, oh yeah, it's this and this and this. Don't worry, it's no problem. And then the minute it's yourself, of course, your ability to read it and take it in properly and everything is just not usually as good. It just isn't. Again, I wasn't expecting the Hanged Man year to be such an awful year, and such a hard year, but it was. It was just filled with difficulty. I think during a pandemic, to say that like death as a theme for the coming year, in terms of like actual physical people dying, is probably realistic. That's the part of it I really don't like. But once, I face that as like, okay, the reality is there's going to be more death coming, right? It came last year. It came the year before. We just don't know how bad it's going to get. But if I think of it as in terms of shifting away from that, knowing that that's a given, and into a place of saying, okay, what are the things that are working and what are the things that are not working? I can do that. That I can do. I feel like it's time for that kind of a review in my life anyway. So it's probably good. See where I'm going there? It's probably good that it's a death year and not a death year. All right. So the first question or the first prompt, what aspect of the card is most important? So what do I most need to focus on with this card in the coming year? Ooh, the Five of Vajras. Okay, that's the Five of Swords. And I am going to read the book, the guidebook, because if I don't, I won't be able to interpret this correctly for myself just because I'm the way that I am. And I double think and second guess everything. So I let the author of the deck read for me, really. Okay, and it's very concise. You can see this LWB is very concise. This card represents someone or something that needs healing or fixing. It also represents the ability to heal or fix. Wow. Not what I was remembering or expecting. Wow. Okay, when I look at this from that perspective, that's huge. Oh my goodness. So this card represents someone or something that needs healing or fixing. So what I need to do in terms of figuring out what works and what doesn't in my life, right? Heal or fix. What needs healing or fixing? That is so clear. Look at that. That's so clear. Possibly also bringing healing or fixing to others, maybe. Because that's something that I've been doing. Yeah, I use the healing touch work at work every single day. Every single day. Wow. Okay. I'm already so grateful to you, Sarah. It's not even funny. All right. It wasn't like weighing on me that heavily. It's just, getting some perspective and taking perspective is just so, I need to find a way to hit things head on, and this helped. Okay, so 2, how can I apply this energy? So how can I apply this energy? Oh, wow, the sun. So this is Buddha and Shakti. That's a yabium there. Wow, so it's the great bliss, Let's see what the actual book says. This card represents illumination, completeness, love, harmony, and peace. It can depict a state of self-satisfaction, especially when derived from bringing two polarities together in harmony, such as a peace treaty, a partnership, or an ideal marriage. Buddha and his Shakti are like a marriage of the conscious and the unconscious, or soulmates. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Okay, so a fixing or healing. Well, I need to fix and heal my practice a little bit I need to fix my practice because my practice has been just all over the map. And anchoring it in something. Henry, can you just be patient a little bit longer for mommy? Pretty please. You can come in here if you want.
Just gotta be calm and just gotta wait, okay? Or you go get a toy.
I'm getting the pressure. No, he's going to sit there and whimper at me and see if he can put the pressure on. Okay. So, he's so smart. I'm trying not to give in to the behavior because I don't want to make him think that that's good behavior. Okay. Yeah, love, harmony, peace. So I could also look at healing things in my life that will bring about greater harmony, peace, resolution, calm, ease, and create a better focus for my relationship, right, with Tom. Maybe that's a good way to look at that one. Could be a very healthy way to apply that. I like that a lot. All right, so next one is what obstacle is likely to arise? There is not a Newfoundland dog called Henry card in this deck, but perhaps there should be. Let's see. What obstacle is likely to arise? Ooh, the 5 of Jewels. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the jewels are the pentacles, and Ratna, which is yellow. Interesting. All right. So let's just see all these 5s are very interesting. So let's just look at what's here for that. 5 of Jewels. This card represents illness and poverty. Wow. This condition is a manifestation of an inner imbalance. The symptoms of disease are a communication from the unconscious. Wow.
Sir, can you calm down from Mommy? Pretty please.
Oh, I don't like that. Illness and poverty. There's been plenty of that in the last year. Lots and lots of that. I haven't been the one who's ill. Hey. Okay, I'm back. It's probably about 45 minutes to an hour later. I had to take the dog out. He was just beyond wound up and needing to run around outside. He struggles to know what to do when I'm not working and the schedule isn't the normal schedule. So bless his heart. But he was probably also honestly picking up on how I felt having drawn this card. And I had to draw my final card before I could even leave the house to go do that because I couldn't just leave myself with that. And, the green flames of eternal stench there, the stench of poverty and illness, before taking the dog out and just giving up and walking away from a spread that I felt a lot of nervousness about undertaking, right? So I went ahead and drew the 4th card. And the 4th card is, what's the advice to face this challenge? And it comes out as Lokana, Buddha Lokana, the Shakti of Vajras. And, embodying qualities of the Buddha Lokana is it's great advice. It's really great advice. It's just, very helpful. So her name means the clear visioned one or the one with the eye. She is the embodiment of pure awareness of the truth. Lokana's wisdom is absolute awareness, absolute knowledge. She is the bedrock of wisdom. Lokana helps us to live up to the first precept, to refrain from harming any living creature and to develop kindness. This is the antidote for the poison of anger. It is through positive direction that we gain mastery, not through fighting with our negative thoughts. So that last sentence is not the one I took with me on my long walk with the dog, unfortunately. That would have been helpful. But it is the advice I eventually came to, interestingly. So wow, there's just a lot in that final card. And it's interesting too the way they all line up. With this 5 of Vajras and the 5 of Jewels, the Sun and the Buddha Lokana or Shakti of Vajras, a Queen of Vajras or Queen of Swords. Wow. Yeah, so just to translate, so this would be the 5 of Swords, although you'll notice it's completely different because, again, we're mixing systems here. The 5 of Jewels is the 5 of Pentacles, not very different, even though we're mixing systems. The Sun, again, similarities with differences, and similarly, here. And I love this deck because of the way it mixes systems in a way that is helpful to me. With both of my practices. Yeah, this one, through positive direction that we gain mastery, not through fighting with our negative thoughts. When I sat down to do this reading, the thing I feared most was more of this, more illness and poverty. Because this last year of 2021 was filled with it. With family members being sick, with my dog being sick all year, my pets being sick, my pets dying, and really fighting through where is my next paycheck or it going to come from, or my next paycheck is guaranteed, but what am I going to do to cover all of these bills in the meantime? And I managed. I did manage. It did come together. But at great cost. I mean, the number of side hustles that had to be put, together to keep it all rolling has been shocking. It's really not comfortable to, be in that position at the age that I am. At all. I could cope with that a lot better in my 20s, but in my 40s, it's very uncomfortable. And it is very uncomfortable because of, again, level and of education and so on and so forth, and finding that at this moment in time, a lot of that seems to be kind of worthless. In terms of money, it's financially valueless. There isn't a financial value that can be placed on that right now. And the irony of being in the middle of a pandemic where a lot of people are dying, but having no real ability to do anything helpful, in terms of it's just, yeah, it's a lot. That said, I think it's helpful to confront something like, a fear like this head on in a way that is constructive, right? That is my great fear. Perhaps that is the obstacle itself, the obstacle, because the prompt for this is what obstacle is likely to arise. Perhaps the obstacle arising is not so much actual poverty and illness, so much as the fear of it and the way in which the focus on it can tend to leave me feeling paralyzed. See what I did there? It occurred to me, again in my mind as I was looking at all of these cards in my mental image, the 5 of Vajras and to heal and fix. To heal and fix. It's an interesting choice that he makes in this deck to use that language. Where are we? Vajras. Yeah, and so concise. This card represents someone or something that needs healing or fixing. It also represents the ability to heal or fix. If that is the the most important thing to do, is to heal and to fix. One thing I can do right off the bat that I have been told specifically to do, right, is to heal and fix the negativity and the negative emotions that I may feel about this, about the fears of that obstacle. You know, you can't do anything. I can't change the past. I feel good about the way I was able to meet those challenges. Let's put it that way. I do feel good about that. I don't regret the way that I handled them, but they took a toll on me, you know, all the same. You know, they've left me feeling very depleted and tired. That kind of bog of eternal stench feeling, you know, getting through that and past that has been hard. Again, I've got a week here where I can replenish, and I'm intending to use that well. So, you know, a lot of practice, a lot of time and space given to refueling and thinking through the future. Yeah, again, healing and fixing. But the word fix is an interesting one because when I think about fixing, you know, the word fix is not just about repairing, right? Repair would be one aspect of fixing. Another would be to fix something in place, right? To create something which is fixed, which is secure, that has, you know, that maybe sometimes by healing something, it becomes more fixed. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot here to work with. And it's so interesting because these three cards are so positive, but one turd in the punch bowl, you know, again, the mind wants to focus on what's negative. It really does. But yet I've got three other cards which have such strength and wisdom and knowledge to them. You know, heal and fix in order to become a light that brings peace, that is more realized, that offers that realization to the world and to you know, the health and well-being of those around you, etc. You know, it may also be you know, the Five of Jewels on that journey, right, may also be that I'm going to come into contact with more people who are impoverished or ill. That I don't, that has no, I have no fear of. That is not something that concerns me at all. It may also be, you know, with Omicron, honestly, you know, the doc is very vulnerable. We may have to close. We may have to close our doors. If we close our doors, we really don't have a contingency plan for that because we're really just living from, you know, 1 week to the next, one patient to the next. It's a very small business and small practice that we're really kind of hoping to build, but we just haven't had the kind of emotional and financial resources to get through that yet. So, you know, I like that these are Vajras and swords because there's a lot of space there for really thinking clearly, you know, working towards clarity of thought, clarity of intent, and so on, which is, again, something I did not spend the time doing at the start of the year last year. And then, you know, the beginning of the year was rough. And it kind of snowballed. It snowballed out of control for me right away in a way that felt a little bit out of control. And I've spent the rest of the year kind of trying to regain some footing. Yeah. Yeah, this is helpful. This is helpful. You know, I'm empowered to fix and heal, to heal and fix. So I'm going to. And I will, it's beautiful that this Lokana, you know, Shakti of Vajras is, I just want to kind of look at that again. It's, yeah, embodiment of pure awareness of the truth. Absolute, her wisdom is absolute awareness, absolute knowledge, bedrock of wisdom. Living up to the first precept, which is non-harming, and kindness, the antidote for the poison of anger. Through positive direction that we gain mastery, not through fighting with our negative thoughts. So establishing positive direction and saying, okay, these are the things I can do. These are the things I will do. These are the things I am doing is really going to be important moving forward. Yeah. All right, friends. Whoops. Thank you for sticking this out with me if you have. And a big thank you, a huge thank you to Sarah over at Water Child Tarot for sharing this spread and for creating it and sharing it as well. Very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Any further insights that anyone may have? I mean, we're all readers of cards. Feel free to share anything you might want to throw out there for me there that may occur to you. Yeah, I'm definitely open to hearing that. All right, friends. Until next time, take care. Bye.